Hello, today I'm going to be talking about the textbook Get Real, English for Tercero y Cuarto Medio, and I'm going to be intervening a writing activity found in this textbook. But first, a little bit of context. The textbook has the Unit 3, which is called Health and Modern Life, and the Unit 3 focuses on having a healthy lifestyle. It covers topics such as healthy eating habits, physical activity, and mental health. It has these 4 lessons, these are their names, and we're going to be talking about lesson 4, healthy happiness. In this unit, we find mainly expository texts, that is, a text whose main purpose is to inform, explain, and convey knowledge about a topic in a clear, organized, and objective way. For example, we have the text How Modern Life Affects Our Physical and Mental Health on page 64, How to Live to 100 years old, obviously, on pages 64 and 65, and so on and so on. Here are some text samples. As you can see, these are mainly expository text, as I said earlier. Here you can read them there. That is the information. Regarding lesson 4, healthy happiness, we encountered the following activity: writing about the happiest moment of your life. And the textbook provides a sequence of steps that you should follow in order to achieve this task. We have first organizing our ideas. This is divided into 2 parts, A and B. 2, drafting. 3, revising. 4, editing. And 5, publishing. And we can check our text with the box that is there below. But after analyzing this activity for a while, I found some aspects that should be improved in order for this activity to be enhanced. First, the genres read in the unit and the genre required to write are not related, and students do not have any example of how their final version of the text should look. I missed S, how look. We found some incoherence on this activity because up to this point the students have read only expository text, and now they are required to write a somewhat kind of personal story or autobiographical fragment. And the teacher's book is not helping us at all because it only contains that information that you can see on the screen, and that is not helping us at all in order to make this activity more complete. And the only example that we can find of a story, a personal story, is this one that we do not find until like eight pages later in the textbook. So, and also the content of the story is not going to help us to write our story, the story that students have to write. And so in this context, here are some proposals to address this gap. First is to match the genres read in the unit and the genre required to produce, and also to teach students the structure of the text required to write and show some examples of how their final version of the text should look. I missed the S again. So for activity 1, the students are going to read a personal story. So at the beginning of this lesson, students will read a text about a personal story with a topic that is related to the unit Health and Modern Life. So maybe a good example could be a personal story of a teenager learning about the cons of using too much social media, or a story about a teenager who finds his or her favorite sport, and that leads them to have one of the happiest moments of their life. That could be another possibility. Here is an example of how that should look. I remember that during the summer break, I ended up feeling completely mentally exhausted. Every day I stayed up until 3 a.m. scrolling through TikTok or Instagram Reels. My anxiety levels were through the roof. I realized my relationship with social media was becoming toxic for my mental health. So I decided to challenge myself. A strict 84-hour digital detox over the weekend. And here we encounter a second paragraph, and then a third paragraph, and a final fourth paragraph. You can pause if you want to read the whole story. I came up with it. I am the official writer of this story. And after that, for the second activity, students are going to analyze elements of a personal story. That way, students are exposed to an authentic model of the genre that they have to produce. They can analyze how the story is told, they will identify the first person narrative, they will get familiar with it overall. And for the sake of convenience, I used the same story for this example, although it will be more convenient if we come up with another example, another authentic piece of text. So here we can see that a personal story uses a lot of first person perspectives. That is what is highlighted in red, all the I, my, myself, mine, and so that students can understand that a personal story is reading using the first person. Also, we have the parts of the story, for example, setting the scene at the beginning. Like, I remember that during summer break, I ended up feeling completely mentally exhausted. We also can identify the paragraphs, so we are breaking down this piece of text into something that students can analyze and then learn how to produce their own text. And that way, the activity can be more coherent, more precise of what it wants to achieve. For example, now if we put on practice the activity 1 and activity 2, and then we ask our students to perform the activity, now they are going to be much more aware of what they have to do, because now they can follow these steps already knowing what I taught you before, and that way the activity is going to be more complete. So thank you for your attention and happy end of the semester. Bye.